September 4th, 2023 is today's date. It's Labor Day, I'm pretty sure. It's a Monday. And on Monday, that is the day that follows Sunday, which is the day that follows Saturday. And Saturday is when we had our first slate of college football games. Now, there were a lot of games played. There were a lot of games where one team played, okay? We had a lot of 80, I think it was 82 or 81 to 7, 73-0, 73-7 games. Now, do these games really matter? Some of them, yeah, technically, as far as how much these teams show their worthiness for the college football playoff or whatever. I don't think that they should be worth anything. If you have to pay your opponent to get to whoop their ass, I don't like that for standings. But you know what? Some teams didn't win this weekend. Colorado and like Texas State or something, Southeast Texas State, whatever, both won. Deion Sanders obviously is the coach of Colorado. I don't remember the coach of the other team off the top of my head, but they beat Baylor, and TCU fell to Colorado. Two teams that not a lot of people expected to win, but two teams that have brand new head coaches and brought in brand new players. They had like the least returning starters and the most turnovers. So that's a pretty cool little stat there. It could be the future of college football, which I wouldn't personally love. I think that's kind of what takes away from the game a little bit. It's not the NFL, but anyways, that doesn't really matter. What my point, what my thought process on that is. But with that being said, Coach Prime heard all the haters and he proved them all wrong. DCU proved they probably shouldn't have been in the college football national championship last year, or maybe just that they lost literally everyone who was worth anything on that team. In other news, which it's related to college football, I said I was never going to gamble again after having like a 90 bet losing streak last year. And sure enough, as soon as football came around, I said, yep, I'm going to have to do that. So I put a couple bets down, and guess what, guys? I went net positive. I'm very proud of my performance this weekend, which is going to mean I'm going to be putting out some betting videos just like every other Twitter guy, every other TikTok guy, and girls, to be inclusive. And you know what? We're going to ride it till the wheels fall off. Could be 1 week, could be one bet, well, I won't fall off after one bet. It might just go a little loose. But we're going to do it. So if you are looking for some of my opinion, because I am on like a 7-0 streak right now, which is kind of crazy, check out the YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, just look for the other videos. Hit the subscribe button, blah, blah, blah. Like, comment, whatever. And yeah, so if you're on Spotify, check out the YouTube and leave a 5-star review if you're on the whatever. With that all being said, there's not like a lot to talk about in this pod because we do have a full conversation about the Colts and the NFL coming up. So we'll talk a little bit more about what we're going to expect for the upcoming football season in tomorrow's pod. And we'll have a couple videos coming out in the next few days as well that are going to be really diving into the NFL season as it comes to ahead here in just 3 days. And also, one thing to keep an eye on, college football it just keeps going. So, like, the first week was not the only week, which is pretty cool. We'll still have a lot of weeks of that in the near future. So, Iowa State will be this weekend. If you guys want any special coverage of that, you can let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to go and have a fun time. With that being said, joining us now, the host of the Drop Balls podcast, the co-host of Sports After Dark, a writer for the Horseshoe Pride. If you don't love him now, you'll love him in just a few minutes. The one and only Chris Lewis. For a team that has a horseshoe as a logo, you guys are going through it. You are not very lucky right now. How are we feeling over there in Indianapolis? I mean, obviously you're not necessarily in the city, but is the vibe of the city and all of the fans one that a fan would be optimistic about, or is everyone kind of unsure? That's how I feel personally.
Yeah, I think it's really like a split. Like, you have a lot of fans that are unsure on what's going to happen this year, and then you have some fans that They're just very optimistic, and of course, because we got Anthony Richardson. You see the jersey in the back.
Of course.
So we got Anthony Richardson, and so a lot of people are excited about that. But then you have some that are skeptical because he hasn't played a lot of games, hasn't had a lot of starts, and he has some accuracy issues in college, which mainly was because of his footwork. But I think, like I said, I think it's about a 50-50 split. I don't really think too many people are expecting a lot out of this season. I just think they're expecting, let's see some progress this season and see where things go.
For sure. So speaking of Anthony Richardson, it's a great spot to start. I did not think he should be drafted as high as he was. Now, he played amazing in the preseason, and obviously he's got some athletic clips coming out of just him launching the ball or doing athletic things in general, because
Yeah.
the dunking video that came out and all of that. But I still do think he was taken a little bit high. I'm not sure what to expect out of this guy because, like, the whole team, I know the Colts are like one of the youngest teams in the NFL right now. I don't know if they have anyone that's older than 30. They're being led
Nope.
by, yeah, super young. They're being led by an absolute athlete, but you're right. He hasn't exactly proven himself on, in my opinion, any level. I thought he looked good in Florida, but not that good. And then you've got the whole Jonathon Taylors situation going on. So there's a lot going on in this building. Do you think Anthony Richardson is the one to turn this program around? Like maybe not this year, obviously, but in 3-5 years, is Anthony Richardson that franchise QB the Colts have been looking for?
I really hope so. Like, the Colts franchise has done pretty well with drafting quarterbacks and getting that right, at least up until Andrew Luck retired and everything. They've done pretty well at drafting quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson, for me, like, I agree with you. At first, I didn't think that he should have been taken that high. I was one of the people that was like, okay, I like him, but not at 4. But then at the same time, it's like, if that's your guy, then why not get him at 4? You know what I mean? Like, if that's the guy that you want, then why not get him there? Can he turn the franchise around? I really hope so, man. Like, I hope so. I think, from what we saw in preseason and just things that have come out of Indy, from the coach, from the team, his teammates and everything, he's very willing to learn. He's very willing to perfect his craft. And that's really all you can ask, for a young quarterback or a young player in general, is that you're willing to get into the building and put the work in. Now, will it translate on the field? That remains to be seen. But I'm hoping it does, because if it does, man, we right back in a good spot. Like, we right back where we need to be.
Oh yeah, 100%. And so I'm looking at your schedule right here. Before I say mine, what do you think you guys can accomplish here? Like, how many wins? What are we looking at?
So I've always said our floor is 6 and our ceiling is 9.
Okay.
Those are my expectations. I don't have crazy expectations. We're either going to be under 500 or we'll just be a game above 500. It's nothing crazy.
No, that's actually right where I've got you. I've got you 7-10 here. Now, my opinion means literally nothing, so that's just kind of a crazy coincidence more than anything else. But you start off with the Jags, which, I mean, you do play the AFC North, so that's like, those are 4 tough games other than maybe the Browns. But overall, looking at this schedule, think you have a relatively easy schedule. So if you can get that ball rolling early, like, who knows? And the AFC South is one that really, it's like the Jags, and I honestly kind of I'm high on the Colts. I think you guys could potentially take that like second or make a push for first, just looking at like if you're able to string a few games together here. So I'm excited to see what the Colts can do if Anthony Richardson can start well. And so let's just say Anthony Richardson comes out, balls out right away, right? What are the odds that the great play from this brand new young quarterback is enough to make Jonathon Taylor want to stay in Indianapolis for a little bit less? What are we looking at here? Because I love Jonathon Taylor. I love what he did 2 years ago. I was like, hey, we need him on the MVP. I really want to see a running back win that. Obviously didn't happen. Then last year you guys had 4 wins. Not his fault at all, but not the best time for him to maybe ask for a $20 million contract. So I don't know the timing on that one, but is that a possibility? Like that, I feel like that's something that if he sees potential in the future, and even maybe just for this season, he would be willing to come back. Or do you think that situation is just long gone? He's just got to get out of Indy.
I think So I'm with and surprisingly, I'm with Chris Ballard on this. I
Okay.
do think the relationship is repairable between the Colts and Jonathon Taylor. Um, I don't know if it's so far if it be as much as the play on the field. Just more so if the Colts take care of him. Like
Mm.
if they show that they will pay him, and I'm not saying like a crazy $20 million a year contract because I don't think I'm not gonna say he doesn't deserve that, but I don't think that he's a back that warrants that much. I don't really think running backs want. I mean, I don't know how to say
It's tough. It's
it.
a tough spot to be in,
Yeah,
I
it's
feel.
a tough spot because while I do want running backs to get paid, being paid like a receiver or a quarterback, something like that, that may not be in the cards. But I think Jonathan Taylor, his sweet spot is between 13 to 15 million, somewhere
I agree.
around there. That's where I can see. Now, if the Colts decide they will take care of him, I think that's where. Which the thing is, the Colts want to keep him. They just said they didn't want to pay anybody right now. They wanted to wait till after the season.
Yeah.
Um, and so if if they show a willingness to take care of Jonathan Taylor, I think the relationship would be repaired. And then you see Jonathan Taylor in a Colts uniform for pretty much the rest of his career. Now the added bonus would be AR and the team performing.
Right.
Like even if it so happened we made the playoffs this year, year one, then I mean maybe that would do a little bit to push forward. Like even if it's just a wild card spot,
Yeah.
but maybe it'll be something a little bit that'll help Jonathan Taylor. Like okay, we I y'all may not have to depend on me as much. We can get some things done with our rookie quarterback.
I'm sure that's something he would love to hear because I feel like I don't know if I don't have the actual like quote or anything, but I feel like he was one of those guys that was a little disgruntled with like his usage. I don't know if it was necessarily public so much, but I mean, you look back to 2 years ago, he was like the guy. He was the he's been said to be the mayor of Indianapolis, and I think that's
Yeah.
exactly what it was, especially with the quarterback situation you guys have been on. So, I mean, I would love to see him stay in Indianapolis, but we've seen a lot of players that there's just no coming back from that kind of situation. So I'll be interested to see what happens there. But so Jonathan Taylor, question mark, big question mark. I
Yeah.
feel like quarterback, you've got an answer. Wide receiver, maybe looking a little dicey. Pittman's good. What about the line? What about the defense? What are our weak spots going into this season that we shouldn't be too surprised when they fall through a little bit?
Yeah, so for me, I think the offensive line is pretty much solidified, everything besides the right guard position.
Okay.
I don't think Chris Ballard has really done a lot to address it. Now he did go pick up some guys off the waiver wire. Once teams made their cuts, after the 53-man roster and everything, he went and picked up some people to hopefully, I guess, create some competition at the position. And
Mm.
maybe that somebody rises to the top there. But I think, left tackle Bernhard Raymond, he played really, really well this preseason. And he looks like he's improved a lot since last year. He was a rookie last year. So this is his second year,
Okay.
with the
Okay.
Colts. And yeah, Quentin Nelson, hopefully
Dog.
he just returns back to form. He's a dog. So hopefully he just returns back to form. Ryan Kelly. And then we have Braden Smith at the right tackle position. So yeah, right guard for me is the biggest question mark on
Okay.
our offensive line. As far as defense, I think this may be the best group of pass rushers Chris Ballard has had in his tenure as GM.
Hey.
Um, so it's a lot. It's a lot. Like we have, I want to say, 10 or 11 defensive linemen on the 53-man roster.
Okay.
So you have a lot of rotational pieces. You have a lot of to get a lot of fresh legs in there. So I think this might be the best unit on that defense, to be honest. And if
Yeah.
and if they are what I think they can be, that helps out our young secondary a lot. Like our secondary is really young. You don't have a lot of people with a lot of starts out there. Plus you have the rookies and Jalen Jones and Juju Brents.
Yeah.
And then you have Darrell Baker who's going to start, and you have I think Dallas Flowers who's going to start as well as the opposite corner.
Okay.
But if our pass rush can get home, that helps those corners out a lot, especially since they're so young and inexperienced. It helps them not only get the experience, but not have to be in coverage for a long time either. So I think that'll be good for us. And the only question now is, can Shaq return back to Shaq of 2021?
Yes.
If he
Big
can,
question.
then that's a big plus for that defense
Oh
if
yeah.
he can be that.
No, he's one of the biggest names on that roster. I think that's one of the names that when I think of the Colts, I look, at especially not before this year was like just not Jonathon Taylor and Shaq Leonard. Really, now Anthony Richardson is the guy, but with Carson Wentz there was never, you never like, oh, it's Carson Wentz, let's go. So that's
Yeah.
that's what it is. But I'm curious about your just kind of. So this is my first off season in like the media. I started this whole thing last middle of football season. So I can't be the only one that is absolutely itching for Thursday night. I mean, am I crazy here? Because I feel like this has been the longest off season of all time, and maybe it's just from the media perspective trying to find stuff to do in the summer. But how are you ready? Like, what are you doing to get ready for Thursday? Because Thursday we've got football to talk about. Then obviously I think the Colts will play Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, what are we doing here? What are you as excited as I am, or what are we talking about?
Yeah, man. Football. Listen, football has been a part of my life for like since what, probably like 8, 9, 10 years old.
Oh
When
yeah.
I started playing Pop Warner and watching football, and then played all the way through college and everything. So like,
Oh shoot,
football
where'd you
is.
play it? Where'd you play it?
I played at Bethany College. Well, I played at Grossmont College in San Diego,
Okay.
and then I transferred to Bethany College in Kansas.
Okay.
But yeah, football's just been a big part of my identity. So, coming up on the season, we had college football this past week, and now this past weekend, now we get NFL action, and it's like, man, I'm ready. I'm ready to get it going, man.
So
Thursday can't get here quick enough.
No, for real. I was looking at your banner, right? Because I was like, okay, obviously a Colts guy. Then I was see all these other athletes. Wait, is that a Yankees? Okay, interesting. Is that Miami? Interesting. What are we? So why are we all over the place? Is this?
Yeah.
And you write for the Colts, but you just are fans of everywhere all over the country. That's kind of awesome.
Yeah. So I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, right?
Okay.
I'm from Jacksonville.
Interesting.
So that's where the Hurricanes come in, the Miami Hurricanes. I mean, my family's FSU fans, and I went with Miami. You got to choose between the three. It's either Florida, Miami, or Florida State, and I chose that green and orange. Then with the Yankees, it's just the team. Like, Yankees were one of the first baseball teams I watched, so I rolled with them naturally. The Colts, it was between really the Atlanta Falcons and the Colts, because those are like two of the. I just gravitated to them.
Okay.
And so I chose the Colts, which I think I did pretty well doing that, because Atlanta hasn't won anything since I started watching football. So,
well, and the Colts. I was gonna say the Colts weren't part of the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history, but they were, unfortunately. Come on, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So like, it's just that, and I live in Seattle, and so once I started watching hockey was when Seattle got a hockey team. So that's when I started watching hockey. So I was just like, all right, well, that'll be my squad. I'll cheer for the Kraken.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the story behind the different teams.
Oh yeah. No, so I'm in Ames, so like there's nothing here, right? So I basically just kind of got to pick and choose, which is nice, but also you get called a bandwagon for being a Patriots fan in the middle of Iowa. It's gonna happen. So, But I've been looking to get out to Lucas Oil. Like, obviously the combine is there, and it's not that far. Like, obviously, like Green Bay, Minnesota, Chiefs are gonna be closer. But have you gotten a chance to go out and see any of the Colts games live, or do you just watch them all in Seattle?
Yeah, so actually the first time I went to Indy was last year in September when they played the Chiefs. I was there for that game.
Oh yeah.
And of course we won.
Of
so
course.
That was great.
So you being there is a reason. Okay, I see it.
I was a good luck charm, man.
Oh yeah.
So we won that game. I lost my voice that game.
I believe it.
I came back home and couldn't talk. So
that's great as a podcast host.
I had a lot of fun, man. And the stadium is beautiful. It's a really nice stadium. And I don't know, man. I got out there and I was like, dang, I kind of like Indiana. Like, or Indianapolis. Like, it was kind of cool.
Interesting.
It was kind of cool. So I had a good time. I definitely want to get out there again. I want to make it to the All-Star game, because I know the All-Star game is out there this year. But I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it to that.
You've been around the city at all, or I haven't personally, obviously. So I'm just curious, like asking out of no real reason, but like, is it a pretty busy city? Is it like all of the Colts fans are all around, or do you just go into the stadium and get out of there?
Oh yeah, no, I mean I was mostly around, downtown, hanging out downtown and stuff because that's where the hotel was. So
Yeah.
hanging out downtown, going to the little sports bar with the sports book in it and all, a bunch of different things. So like it was cool. It wasn't like crazy busy, but people were outside, just enjoying the weather because it was nice when we went up there too.
Yeah.
So it was pretty nice. I met my stepbrother over there because he lives in Indiana, so
Perfect.
he came out to Indianapolis to the game and everything. So that was pretty. It was pretty fun. I had a good time. The tailgate was fun. It's fun to hell too. So that was a good time as well.
That's all you can ask for. So you snuck in that little sports book in there. We putting bets down? I don't know if it's legal in Seattle. I haven't even looked.
It's not legal. Well, so it's legal in the casino. So I had to go to the
Okay.
casino and put down some bets. I have I have some bets placed right now for like my division winners and
You want to
my
go through them,
I
or
gotta
you're
grab
not
my
too
ticket.
confident in them yet?
No, I'm confident in them. I just don't remember what my ticket is. Hold on. Bray, look up there and see if you see my little receipt.
Oh, we pulling out receipts. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
because so they give you like the little betting slip and everything,
Oh yeah.
and
Back
so
backing up the words with the actual paper here.
yeah, yep. Hold on, I think my son's grabbing. Yeah, that's it. Bring it to me. Yep.
Oh yeah.
All
Hey,
right, here we
shout out.
go.
Shout
My
out.
my bet slip.
Here we
Oh, bring
go.
me the other one. Bring me the other one. So I got my Super Bowl predictions,
Okay, let's hear it.
and I have my division winners. So for the first, I'm gonna do the division winners. So I
Okay.
got the New
Okay.
York Jets winning the East,
Yep.
the Baltimore Ravens winning the North, the
Okay.
Jaguars winning the South. I have the Chiefs winning the West.
Hmm.
Actually, no. I have the Chargers winning the West. My
Okay.
bad.
Oh,
The
okay.
Cowboys winning the East, the Lions winning the North, the Saints winning the South, and San Francisco winning the West.
Okay.
And then my two Super Bowl picks were the Chargers and the Cowboys.
Really? Okay, so you are high on the Chargers this year then.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I think it's time to get over the hump, and then also, I think it's time for the Cowboys to finally get over the hump as well. And
Well,
plus, the odds are crazy, so I had to
hey,
definitely put my money
let's
on it.
sprinkle a little bit over there. No, because like Chris Jones with that situation going on in Kansas City could open the door, for the Chargers. I don't mind that play at all. I don't love the Cowboys. I'm not gonna get on that one with you. I'm a notorious Cowboys hater, but okay, I like that. I think the Commanders could get slept on a little bit. They're not going to win the division, but I could see them sneaking in at like a 6 on
Yeah, I
that
could see them
side.
being pretty good. I mean, last year they almost snuck in.
Yeah, Sam Howell
I
is
think it
apparently a
was
guy.
Yeah, and I think what was it, the Giants game? Had they won against the Giants or something like that, they would have been playoff eligible or something like
Yeah,
that.
no,
But
yeah, because remember Ron was like, "Oh, I didn't even know we could make the playoffs."
yeah,
What?
yeah, which
What are
is
we talking
crazy.
about?
But yeah, that whole thing is crazy.
That is
But yeah,
that's
I
crazy.
think they can be pretty good, and you have a quarterback, and I want to see EB do well. Like I really
Yeah.
want to see EB do well after all the hate he took this off season, where it's like, oh, he don't call plays, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, and so hopefully he can get some recognition now because now he's under a defensive minded coach,
Yeah.
and now he's the one calling plays. Like it's for certain he's calling plays. So I'm hoping they make a little bit of noise, not too much, but a little bit of noise.
Not too much to beat the Cowboys out, obviously.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, no, I'm actually so I had, done a little gambling too much gambling last year. I just turned 21 and then this year I was like, "You know what? I'm not going to gamble at all." And then college football comes around. I'm like, "Yep, we're going to have to sprinkle a little bit on here." And did pretty good. So I think I might be putting out some of my own bets here coming up. Try to do like a weekly thing about it and just do it until
Yeah.
the wheels fall off, basically. Because that gambling market right now, like just gambling as a whole, is exploding. Like it's just huge. It's everywhere. So I mean, how could you not capitalize on it? Um, that's basically a content conversation right there. Speaking of the content, what do you do for the dropped balls and the sports after dark? I saw that on your Twitter, and I thought that looked interesting. So you guys just hang out and talk sports after dark, or what is all that?
Yeah. So, and actually, with Sports After Dark, we were recording here in like a couple hours. But yeah, I mean, we talk sports. We have go through some of the narratives and everything, and just give our opinions. We started off hosting spaces like Twitter Spaces,
Hmm.
and while we still do that every now and then, we kind of we veered away from it a little bit to because the Twitter Spaces we made it for the people, where the people could come talk, come hang out, chill, talk with us about sports and everything. And then the Sports After Dark is pretty much our takes, like
Okay.
our thoughts on certain situations and things that's going on. And then the Drop Balls podcast is something I started over the pandemic, and it's just a sports podcast. I haven't really actually. I need to get back active with it. But I think the last episode I dropped was like in February or something after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But it's just a sports podcast, and talking sports and doing good things like that.
So how long have you been in the sports media game then officially?
Just since 2020.
Okay.
Really, yeah. Because I mean, I always wanted to start a podcast, and I always wanted to do something like with sports media, or get into that lane. And during the pandemic, it's like it may be the worst time to do it because nothing was going on. But I was like, why not? We had the Last Dance coming. The Last Dance documentary came out.
Oh yeah.
Basketball has started back up a little bit. So I was like, all right, boom, I'll just get on here and talk some sports real quick and see what this turns out to or turns into.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty good. Like I've enjoyed it over the past 3 years now.
Been a while now, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I personally just decided to do it during my busiest semester at college, so like the actual opposite. But no, I love just getting to talk about sports even though no one's really listening. It's kind of just something that it's like almost like an outlet to just that's why I love sports so much, and that's why I'm so excited for Thursday to be here and to finally get some real NFL because those preseason games. Ooh, did you watch those? Did you watch those preseason games?
Yeah, I watch them, and I do want to say this: even though you may think nobody's listening, trust me, people are listening. So just keep being consistent with it, putting content out on Twitter and everything. I guarantee you, it'll pay off eventually.
I say, what?
But
Maybe we have to talk behind the cameras a little bit on that one. I know that's a crazy. Just the whole social media in general is wild,
yeah,
but
yeah, for sure. But no, I did watch some of the preseason games. Mostly in particular the Colts because I wanted to see how our team was going to look. And granted, it's preseason, but you can still see an identity building. Like you can still see what kind of identity the team is going to build in preseason, or work towards. Uh, what other games did I watch? I didn't really watch a lot of other games. I did want to see the last preseason game for the Jets because I wanted to see Aaron Rodgers play with that new team.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I didn't watch a lot of preseason, but I did catch some games here and there just because I was excited football was back.
they are hard to watch, dude. I mean, yeah, you got your first quarter or whatever, but at some point, it just, I mean, you know what I mean? It's not real football. Like those
Yeah,
guys aren't probably gonna be playing football in a couple of weeks once that August 29th hit, or at least not in the NFL. And I'm not trying to like make it seem like they're bad at football. Like these are some of the best football players on the planet, but just the way that the whole NFL season works, those games are just they are hard to watch. So it's coming around the corner here. We got literally like 4 days, 3 days, whatever it is, until actual NFL football. I'll ask you one last question here. Biggest, how do I want to put it? Like what's your biggest hope for the Colts this year? Obviously, you could say Super Bowl, but let's try to like what would be like a really successful season in Shane Steichen's first year, in Anthony Richardson's rookie year?
hmm
What are we looking forward to? Is it that 9-8? Maybe we squeak in at a wild card, or what would you deem a successful season?
So for this season, for me, a successful season is not even making the playoffs, but a successful season for me is just showing progress as a team. Our team is really young. We have a lot of young players in a lot of important positions. Quarterback. We have some young running backs. We have young corners, young DB or young safeties. So my thing is throughout the season, how do these kids progress? How does our 21-year-old
Okay.
quarterback progress? Um, does he show improvements in his footwork? Does he show improvements in his accuracy? Um, does he show improvements in not putting the ball in bad or not turning over the ball in bad situations, things like that. um to me, if we show improvements in all of those areas, to me, that's the biggest win this season. Because like I said, I don't really have a lot of hopes. We're a young team. Now, if we were to make the playoffs, best believe I'm gonna be happy.
Oh my
I'm gonna be excited.
yeah, of
But
course.
I really just want to see improvements from the young players. And that's pretty much it. Because if they're showing that they're trending in the right direction, then I mean that's all you can ask for year 2, year 3, and beyond.
I mean, those are some wise words, but I think you're exactly right because I think you guys need to win 2 before 2030. Is that what Jim Irsay said? He said 2 in the next 10 years, whatever it was.
Yeah.
You got a
I
ways to
don't know if
go.
that's gonna happen,
You got
but
a ways to go for that one.
yeah, we got some ways to go for that. We got 7 more years, so
But hey,
I don't know if that's actually gonna happen. It'll be crazy to get 2 in 7 years, but I
Anthony
mean,
Richardson could be the guy though. He
he
needs to
could
send a
be.
little text to Jonathon Taylor, get him in the building. These duo, we got Shaq Leonard. Who knows? Maybe next
Yeah.
offseason we bring in a superstar like receiver or something. I would just put it this way: I was kind of high on the Colts after seeing this preseason. I would not be surprised if they come out with the NFC or the AFC South title. I guess I'll be surprised, but it's in my like possible range.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah, the Jags
Now,
could
I
slip
will
up.
say a big success would be if we were high enough to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. next year.
Okay, so you'd be okay with
Then
like
that
both
would be a real
directions.
good success.
Okay, what do you have Harrison at? Do you have like top 10?
I think he's the best receiver in this class.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Hey, but who was that? Was it Travis Hunter out of
Yeah,
Colorado?
Travis Hunter, he played, man,
Ooh, I mean, he
he was good.
almost single-handedly put Colorado on the map. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he did his thing on Saturday. You can't even hate on that. He did his thing.
he is a baller. That is for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But speaking of ballers, very happy to have a baller like you on the podcast today. Ladies and gentlemen, the host of the Drop Balls Pod, which is going to be ramping up soon, I heard just from a little birdie in my ear, the co-host of Sports After Dark, which will be producing content in just a few short hours, and writer for the Horseshoe Pride, one and only Chris Lewis. Thank you, Chris. We appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Hey, how about it? Chris had a lot of really cool insight on the Colts there. We jumped into some off-topic stuff, but, that's just going to happen when you're having conversations like that. I'm excited to see what the Colts do this year. I know I was kind of wishy-washy in that conversation of, are they going to win the AFC South or are they going to stink, right? There's like 2 really decent options there. Or, like I said, you could be right in the middle. So I don't have any read on the Colts at this point. I wish I could make a prediction. I will make a prediction in my video that's coming out this week in which I do division rankings, like my final predictions, and or ceiling and floor. I haven't decided which one I'm going to do, so look out for that. But with that being said, he had a lot of cool things to say. I'm really glad Chris was able to make it on. Check out his stuff, the Drop Balls Pod, which is going to be coming up. He's going to start, moving forward with that here pretty soon as the season gets underway. And then obviously Sports After Dark. Check him out on Twitter. I'll have it in the description down below. And with that being said, while you're scrolling down to the description to check out all the cool stuff he's got, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, blah, 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 all that. Please do this for me crap that everybody else does. But it seems to work, so I'm going to throw it in here. We're going to have a lot of stuff coming up, obviously, with the NFL season going underway on Thursday. So big week for this week if you like sports stuff. If you like listening to this pod, just, hit the follow, whatever it is. I don't even know. I don't know on Spotify, to be honest. But I know you can leave reviews, so that would be really cool if you could do that. With that being said, be a friend. Let someone that, hey, this podcast doesn't absolutely stink. I mean, it's not great, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. We're going to keep doing some interviews. Got some cool guests lined up, and we'll keep breaking down all of everything going on in sports. So we'll see you guys tomorrow on September 5th, 2023.